Hi, my name is Marissa Tavares and I will be teaching high school physical education. I designed my lesson plan for 40 ninth grade students with the main objective being for the students to learn proper technique of offensive skills of lacrosse. Another one of my key objectives is for the students to improve their teamwork skills by working in pairs and groups. I have my lesson plan in front of me, so I will be going over what I plan and why I chose to do each section the way I did. I will also be including short clips of me teaching the lesson to students to give you a visual of the lesson plan. As far as the topics I will cover, my primary focus is to develop the proper throwing, catching, and scooping techniques of students. So I will have activities already built into the lesson plan that I will address later on in this video. And then one of my sub-focuses is for the students to find some type of activity that they like to do that they can do for a long time. That way they stay physically fit. My lesson plan will take place on an outdoor basketball court just because I will use the lines of the court as markers for the students, but it could also take place on a soccer field or even indoors. As far as equipment, I will need 40 lacrosse sticks and yarn balls, 10 cones, a stopwatch, a music speaker, and 40 of the checklists that I will be using to assess the students. I will be covering 3 state standards. I will explain them using the objectives that I made from the standards, if that makes sense. For the psychomotor domain, I will be using High School Course 2, Standard 1. The objective from that is going to be students will be able to combine and apply movement patterns from simple to complex in throwing a ball using a lacrosse stick. The cognitive domain, I will be using High School Course 2, Standard 2.5, which is the objective that I made is students will be able to justify the use of relay races to achieve desired fitness goals by giving 2 examples in their daily journal. And then last, the affective domain, I'll be using High School Course 2, Standard 3.1, which is students will be able to participate in rock, paper, scissors fan club for personal enjoyment. Okay, and then I will provide differentiated instruction by providing excellent physical demonstrations for the students to see, as well as excellent verbal descriptions and cues. I will also provide them with the checklist that I will be assessing them with. That way they can visually see what it is exactly that I am assessing them on. If necessary, I will also group students to their advantage. For example, if I have a student that only speaks Spanish, I will group them with a student who speaks Spanish and English. That way that student can help them with the instructions that I'm giving. I will also be prepared for any type of physical, cognitive, or social disability or delay by having different sized lacrosse sticks, fluff balls, or just having different pairing systems, like I mentioned. To begin the lesson, I will first establish an attention getter, which will have the students quickly refocus their attention on me. The one I chose for this lesson is when I say Clovis High, you say Cougars, and I keep repeating that until everybody has their focus on me. I just think that is a better way to keep the students engaged rather than blowing a loud whistle. Next, I will establish rules and go over safety. Because more than likely, if I don't say lacrosse sticks are only to be used to pass, catch, and scoop, students might use them to play fight. So I have to make sure I establish those rules. And then next, every day for my lessons, I want to have the standards or the objectives written out on the whiteboard. That way the students can see what it is that we are going over, and I want them to know how it is being applied to whatever activity we are doing. So I will begin my lesson with that, and then also close it with that too. To begin the actual physical activity, I will be doing a non-traditional simple dance warm-up. I'm going to be showing you a clip of it in action, which is given to a group of students. It'll be their first time doing it. So you can see how easy it is for them to follow along, and you can also see how much fun they are having doing it. And then next, after the warm-up, students will line up on 2 lines facing each other to begin activity 1, which will be passing. I will provide a demonstration and point out the key points I will be looking for when assessing, and then on my cues, partners will pass the ball back and forth with the stick using proper form. And then as the students become more comfortable with their catching and passing, they can take a step back on successful catches, so it can further challenge themselves a little bit.
Perfect. Ready. Ready.
The next will be activity 2, which will be musical fluff balls, which is basically the same thing as musical chairs. It's just that we're using balls instead of chairs. When the music stops, students are required to scoop up a ball. Because there is one less ball than there are students, one student will be left without a ball, and then this student will be in charge of determining the next exercise for the class to do, like 10 sit-ups. And then also to challenge the students even more, I can require them to pick up a second ball before they are considered done. And then the last activity for my lesson plan is going to be a relay race. Students will be grouped into 3s, and then they will line up on the sideline. The first student in each line will throw a fluff ball out using proper form. They will run to it, scoop it up using proper form, then they will run back and pass it to the next partner in line using proper form. After a student completes his turn, he is then required to do jumping jacks safely, put his stick down, and then do jumping jacks until the whole group is done. And then an extension task I can include is that I could have the students do a certain amount of throws and catches before they can pass it off to the next partner. And then to cool down, students will play rock, paper, scissors fan club. This is where the social interaction and the source of enjoyment come from. It's really fun. You can see in the video the students have fun. Students will find a partner to play rock, paper, scissors with. Before dueling though, they must decide on a static stretch to do for at least 15 seconds, just so we can get that cool down aspect in it. After they do the stretch, they can then duel. Whoever wins rock, paper, scissors gets to stay in the front. Whoever loses then goes behind the winner and is now part of the winner's fan club. So then the winner goes and finds a new person to challenge. And again, they do their stretch, the whole group, even the fan club, they do their stretch. And then the fan club's going to be cheering on the winner, whoever's in the front. And then eventually there's going to be 2 students dueling for first, and then 2 huge fan clubs cheering them on. And then here's a short clip of Rock, Paper, Scissors fan club, so you can just take a look at it. So throughout the lesson, I will be assessing the students one at a time for proper form using the checklist I created and gave the students. In addition, I will assess the class as a whole by asking content-related questions after the cool down, like what angle should the stick be at when ready to catch? Or should the ball be stationary or moving in a semicircle rotation when cradling the ball? These are just questions that I will be asking at the end that I already told them the answer to in the beginning and even throughout the lesson. So it just kind of assesses them as a class to see what I need to cover more. And then the last form of assessment will be in the form of a short journal assignment where they will be required to write 5 specific details of any offensive skill they learned in the lesson, which will be due the following day. And then lastly, the cleanup will be fairly simple. On my cue of rounded up, the students will grab at least 2 pieces of equipment and they will put them away correctly in the equipment bin.